Hello and welcome to the October 22nd edition of Franklin Reporter and Advocate News Hour. This is going to be a very interesting and I think exciting news hour because we're going to be introducing everyone to, or maybe not introducing, but introducing everyone to the women of the FTPD, Franklin Township Police Department. This is going to be a discussion about experiences that women officers have and their motivations for becoming police officers and their thoughts on the job, on the profession, and on the issues that face them. And it's going, and I forgot, I'm Bill Bowman from the Franklin Reporter and Advocate, co-publisher and editor, and this is
PJ Parker, co-publisher and marketing and advertising director of the Franklin Reporter and Advocate. Welcome.
And PJ is going to be pretty much directing things today. Just to give you, just as a foundation, just a couple statistics, I guess. Now, according to the U.S. Department of Justice, in 2016, about 11% of police officers in towns whose populations were 50,000 to 99,999 were women. That's about 11%. Mm-hmm. At this point, Franklin is right about there. We have about 100 sworn officers, 11 of which are female. In the supervisory ranks, there are about 20. We can get the real numbers from Director Spruill or Captain Rizzo. We have 2 women, including Director Spruill. So we are, I think we're right about there. Right about in the national average. PJ.
Yes, we are. We're about a shade above 10%. I believe in addition to the public safety director, Quovella Spruill, we have 9 or I think we have 11 officers in various ranks. And with us tonight, we have a number of officers. We're very pleased to have 9 out of that 11 with us this evening. So I think we ought to just bring them in and we'll address some of the issues. What is the difference? Is there a difference? Is there an impact being female? And here, so we're going to find out.
Here we go.
Okay.
There'll be one button you can push and just do this, you know?
Yes, because I'm having trouble seeing everyone. Well, but I'd like to welcome all of the officers. Bill, were you saying something?
I was just saying that we're not done yet.
Okay.
All right.
All right, and Captain Rizzo. Okay, we have a full house. Hello, everybody.
How we doing?
Okay.
How's it going?
Well,
again, I'm not seeing everyone's pictures, but I know who's here. I'll introduce myself. I'm PJ Parker. I'm the co-publisher and the marketing advertising director of the Franklin Reporter and Advocate, along here with Bill Bowman, also co-publisher and the editor of the Franklin Reporter and Advocate. And we'd like to welcome these very special women tonight, women in law enforcement in Franklin Township. The director, our public safety director, Quovella Spruill, is here with us tonight, as well as the Franklin Township captain, Phil Rizzo. No, he's not a woman. We know this, but he's instrumental in a lot of, obviously, a lot of what goes on in the community, the police community. And we also have officers with us, Sergeant Jolanda Lacewell, Detective Det.Leah Spahr, and forgive me if I do not pronounce your names correctly. I'm sure you will correct them as you introduce yourselves. Officer Dawn Flanders, Officer Stacy Grant, Detective Rebecca Leah, Officers Lila, Madoma, Officer Christy, Stebila, and Officer Lauren Gregory and Officer Louise, Blige, who are both fairly new to Franklin Township PD. I believe today is maybe day 4 for both of them. So we have a very interesting cross-section of women here today. So again, I can't see who's here.
Well, I would like to note that Captain Hebon did make a guest appearance there for a second.
For a second, okay.
Officer Grant.
We had a,
Okay, I can't, I can see two of the officers and that's kind of it. So I'm counting on technical heaven that you're all here.
everybody's here.
Okay. Anyway, I'd like to start pretty much with Public Safety Director Quovella Spruill. Now, are you there? Can I see you?
I am here.
Okay. I can't see your mouth move. I don't know when you're taking a breath up between sentences.
Okay.
Anyway, this is a fairly new situation in Franklin Township, that there is a public safety director at all, and that it happens to be a woman. So from all accounts that I've been hearing within the community, and certainly within the police community, you've been making quite a difference. And again, as the first female in this capacity, give us some insight from your perspective on the impact that you personally feel that you have had on the department, the impact of women in general in the profession of policing, and the impact specifically in Franklin Township of women on the police force.
Okay. So first, I'd like to say thank you to all of the officers that joined us this evening. I know we have been promising to do this for
Yes.
quite some time. I know, we finally got to it. First, I'd like to say, I believe that as women, we deliver a different perspective to everything, based upon our experiences. And I think that can be said for, almost any different kind of group, which is not considered the majority. But that being said, in the end, I think our experiences bring, our differences complement each other, because we're all trained the same way. Right now in law enforcement, there's no difference the way women and men are trained. It's just that I think our experiences make us different. Just like myself, I think that my experiences in law enforcement and the path that I've traveled make me different from, the other women here tonight. So, I'm proud of being the first. I'm proud. I'm most proud, though, of the positive impact that I am bringing to the township of Franklin. And I think it's just that I see things from the inside out. And it makes it better sometimes that, I'm new and it's fresh. I gave everyone a clean slate, because the great thing about me being new here is I don't know what happened before. I could care less, actually. Right now, I'm building upon, the strength and the talent that I see in the department. So, it was almost like spring cleaning when I came in April, no pun intended. It was spring. So I think that makes a difference. So I did not come in and say, hey, I'm going to just tear up and make everything different. It's just that I see things differently. And whether that is because I'm a woman, whether that is because I'm new to Franklin Township, being inside government, or it's just because, I look around me and I see the talent, I see the potential. Someone said to me, Franklin has good bones.
Wow.
That is a great analogy. They have great bones, and I just have to build on it. And, I told one of our sergeant candidates this morning that, I come up with ideas, I come up with rules and policy, but I need these women and men to implement them. So, and they're doing a great job. It's great when they can provide insight and their opinions to the vision that we're launching. The first thing I did when I came in was give a survey. I wanted to hear, what did they want? What did they want to do? And tonight, I would have been remiss if I did not invite all of the women in the department to attend this podcast. So we have most of them here. Some have prior engagement, but maybe we'll try it again soon. Maybe Women's History Month.
Sure. That's in February. Tell us a little bit about your background.
So how far? PJ,
as it relates to being female within your profession.
So I didn't come into, so the thing I admire about these women are they came into law enforcement as mostly patrol officers. I did not come that way. I was I worked in engineering. I worked as a manager for the city of Newark. And then a friend of mine asked me if I wanted to come into the prosecutor's office to be an investigator. And I did go to Seagard. I did go to the police academy. I had to do that. We were mixed with, on one side, it was state police running down to the beach in their shorts. And then on the other
Wow.
side, there was municipal police and corrections. And then you had DCJ Academy, Division of Criminal Justice. So I
Mhm.
did go to the academy. When I came out of the academy, I was originally hired to do environmental crimes. And when I came out, they said, look, little girl, the environmental crimes, and they did say little girl back then. The
Wow.
environmental crimes are
Wow.
sex crimes, homicide, or narcotics. Which would you like? So I said sex crimes, but then of course, you know how law enforcement is. You don't really get a choice. They say, okay, well, we're sending you to homicide. So I started my
Wow.
career
Mhm.
in the homicide squad, and it was tough because I was the rookie in homicide. I was a female in homicide. Those were both rare things, but you know, just like with me, with everything, I proved myself, and they got to like me, and so I was productive, and here I am from detective.
Mm.
We didn't have the rank of sergeant. We had lieutenant, captain, deputy chief, and then chief. And I can tell you this, as a lieutenant, that was our first rank back then. I was proud. I could have
Mm.
retired as a lieutenant. I could have retired as a detective because I knew I had a great job. I knew I had a great job that afforded me a great lifestyle. I was already, you know, I was fulfilled. Not to say I didn't want more, but I would have been, I was a happy detective. I was feeling very, very like I achieved the best when I became lieutenant. I did not look for the next steps. The next steps
Mhm.
kind of came because someone recognized that I was working and I was doing
Mhm.
my job. So I wasn't obsessed with a title. I was obsessed with performing a mission, which was
Mhm.
helping the department succeed and attending to the victims and the cases that we had within our department. So I think that probably led to, you know, my success. Just like coming to Franklin, I was, you know, there were people asking me, why don't you apply to Franklin? Why don't you apply to Franklin? And quite frankly, at the time I was looking
Frankly,
to,
Franklin, right?
I was looking to vacation and enjoy retirement. But, you know, I don't know, one thing led to another, and I'm here and I'm happy I'm here. I'm happy I'm here with them because I hope that, you know, the next, you know, 2, 5, 10 years, however long it takes, that I am here to see these men and women grow because that is my mission. I'm sure I was chosen to do that.
Mm-hmm. At this point, do you have a highlight that you feel being a woman it has set your decision apart, perhaps from someone else's, a certain sensitivity or insight?
Well,
Your greatest, let's say your greatest challenge, and perhaps your feelings that I had a little edge there because I'm a woman. Not that you're consciously thinking of that, but
mhm.
our reactions tend to be a little bit more on the sensitive side. Do you feel that impacted you?
Somewhat. I can say this. So the last several months, the officers have been studying for the sergeants or the lieutenants test, and I know it has been the majority of them. And I think that so a lot of things that I want to launch, a lot of things I want to do, I say, okay, I'm not going to do that right now because I'll drive them crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very sensitive to the fact, and see Captain Rizzo laughs because he know I say that all the time because I'm like, okay, I want to do 1, 2, 3, but I know everybody's studying, so I'm not going to do that right now. But
Mm-hmm.
now all bets are off. The tests are over. Once we finish the interviews, I'm ready to amp it up. And, you know, I have a motto. It comes from Essex County. We go big or we go home. So
Wow, good. Mm-hmm.
Franklin, look, we're next year, January, we are ready to really show the community what we're made of. And guess what? Like I said, they have great bones and we're just going to build upon that. And I see us going deeper and being even stronger and even more amazing. So I think that is the biggest thing that I take from being who I am. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sensitive to the officers, whether they believe
Mm-hmm.
it or not. I know I may have some of my PBA members listening and like, she's not that sensitive all the time, but I am very concerned. I do, I do go behind the fact that, you know, I know they are human. I know it's a hard job. I get it. I get it. So I don't want to badger them. I just want things to work well and go well and make sure we deliver the best service for the community.
Oh, it's wonderful. I'm probably going to ask you a little bit later if you can give us some of those highlights of some of the things that you've planned. But I think to give the officers who've so graciously given us their time an opportunity to introduce themselves. And again, I can't see any of you. I see me, and that's it. So I don't know whose pictures are up there. I'm just going to go down the list that I have, and perhaps each of you can just give a little background, who you are, how long you've been in Franklin, and what you think your impact has been as not only a police officer, but a woman police officer. Starting with Sergeant Jolanda Lacewell.
I thought you were going to start with Phil, but I'll go first.
Oh, okay. We'll come back.
She's
to
a good
Phil.
woman, so that kind of let me know we weren't going that course.
Oh, okay. Well, we changed course when the interviewer can't see anybody.
I got it.
Okay. Anyway, so if that's all right with you.
Of course. My name is Jolanda Lacewell. I am a sergeant with the Franklin Township Police Department. I've been with Franklin for over 23 years. I am currently assigned to internal affairs and training. Captain Rizzo is my boss. The impact that I think that I've had, I think that I've shown the men that we work with that women can handle this profession. I think that I've shown some of the little girls that have seen me working the streets that women can do this job as well as men can. I hope that I've been a role model to some of the other females that have come along after I was hired.
So you think your position as a role model has been significant?
I do.
To other women,
Girls,
yeah.
I'm sure, but I think so. I feel that I've grown over these 23 years. I had a few female officers that were hired, so I had the benefit of being able to go to other females and have that support system already in place for me. So I feel fortunate from that perspective. One of the first things you usually get when you start this career from at least the male officers is, will you be there to back me up?
Right, exactly.
That's you know, a main concern of theirs. And we've all shown that in our careers. And we've shown that we can handle this profession. And we do bring a different spin on situations that you're probably not going to get with a male officer.
Really interesting. Okay.
People perceive us a little differently.
Well, exactly what I would like to be focusing on. Just your perspective, approaching a situation. How do you feel that perhaps your perspective is different from a man's?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up there a little bit.
As a woman officer, how do you feel being a woman has impacted your decisions, and are they different in your eyes than how a male would react?
I don't think specifically being a woman has made me make decisions differently in the course of my profession. I wouldn't say that's the case. Just my own, personal approach to things, but that's just me personally. I'm a woman, but I wouldn't say it's because I'm a woman that I do something this way.
Exactly. So officer first and gender second.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you. And it's wonderful. I'm happy to meet all of you women officers in the community. It's a joy. I think next we have Detective Leah Spahr. Leah or Leah?
Leah, thank you.
Leah, welcome. Tell us a
Thank
little
you.
bit about Leah. And again, same questions, your impact as you feel as a female in the police profession within Franklin Township and in general?
I've been with the department for 20 years now. I started in patrol and I'm now assigned to professional services where Sergeant Lacewell and Captain Rizzo are my supervisors. I feel it would be shameful that I couldn't mention the females before me. Walking in the door to Franklin Township when I was hired was an amazing experience to see Sergeant Lacewell. People that, Sergeant Bantlow, who has since retired, Lieutenant Durham. There's so many females that were before us that really did a lot of the work for us. And as we walked to the door, they made sure that we were a tight group. We took care of each other. And that was a special feeling that, the females really do have a special bond. I do think as a female, maybe we're a little more sensitive. I mean, I'll tell you all day long that I really don't want to go on a scene and have to fight with somebody, be physical with somebody. I'll do it all day long, but I feel like sometimes women have a better way of talking situations down. But I've been with male officers who are capable of doing it, but I think females, we do have a little bit of a different perspective where we have a little more patience and we put in, I don't want to say put in more time, but we definitely like to talk things down before, we take care of business when we need to take care of business. It's always the way it's been. But no, I enjoy being able to try to talk out a situation before, trying to, come to the best conclusion that we can. So walking into this department with all the females that we've had and have had continuously and now with having the director here is it's a very special experience. Oh,
I'm sure. It's like a sisterhood within the context of the brotherhood. So it's wonderful. I'm so proud of every one of you. It's an honor. Okay, next we have Officer Dawn Flanders. Again, same questions. Your impact as you think as a female, if you feel that there's a difference in how you approach what you do, and your impact and the impact of other female officers around you as to your decisions on the spot or in general, and perhaps a challenge that you face that you think that you conquered with a little bit more of your femininity at work.
I just want to say thank you for having us. My name is Officer Dawn Flanders. I've been a police officer with Franklin Township Police Department for the past 21 years. I started out in patrol and then I got moved to the Juvenile Detective Bureau where I was assigned as a teaching SRO. And SRO stands for School Resource Officer. And recently we've all been moved to the Community Relations Bureau. So my role is to teach a program called GREAT, which is Gang Resistance Education and Training. And I teach that to all of the 6th grade at the Franklin Middle School. And I also teach a lot of other prevention programs within all of the schools in Franklin Township, as well as I'm involved with the Law Enforcement Club. I'm involved with the Junior Police Academy. I'm also going to be involved in the upcoming Cadet Academy. So, the challenge that I found being a woman in law enforcement was the balance of work and family. But that's something that's considered time management. So you just work through that. One of the triumphs that I had, or that I think just in general, is just the community relations have been outstanding. I'm a member of the Municipal Alliance for the Prevention of Substance Abuse, and I'm a former member of the Human Relations Commission, and I represent the police department. And just educating the community and the relationships and the building of friendships throughout my years of law enforcement have been really beneficial. And I think that is the greatest triumph. And I think education goes a long way when we talk about a lot of these topics, is because if people are educated about what we do and about what we stand for, it helps with relationships with the community. So it works with trust, it works with communities, building relationships. So that's the answers to my questions, and thank you for having us.
Oh, absolutely. Your role within the school systems, working with children, you certainly have the opportunity to show other girls that their options are wide open. Doing what what you're doing, that there's opportunity for them in those fields as well. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And next we have Officer Stacy Grant. Tell us a little bit your impressions of yourself as female, the impact you think as female you have in the department, and some of the challenges you may have faced, and some of the greatest joys you've had being a police officer in Franklin Township.
Sure. I've been with Franklin Township for 19 years. I am the school resource officer for the Franklin Middle School Hamilton Street campus. During my tenure here in Franklin, I've been part of the patrol division as well as the Juvenile Detective Bureau as an SRO. And I've been involved in just about all of our community policing initiatives in my I think that's probably one of my greatest accomplishments, that I can say that I've been involved in so many of our community programs, because that's really where we kind of make the connections that that last and really elevate our agency. You know, to mimic and touch upon some of the things that were said, I feel that I've been able to be a role model to some of the children that I've met, specifically the young girls. I started a law enforcement club at the middle school when I moved back into that position, and seeing the young girls come in who want to be police officers or be involved in law enforcement and connecting with them, and them being able to see a female in the role that I'm in, or some of the other females that come in and guest speak, has really allowed me to make connections and be a role model. And that's one of the things that I'm most proud of. And, you know, again, to touch upon something that was said, I was fortunate I didn't walk through the door to be the first female. The groundwork was laid before me. And, you know, people, other officers, other female officers came in and had to kind of fight the fights to get us to where we are. And so I'm proud to maybe also be able to do that for the officers that are coming in. You know, we have new officers coming in right now. We have 2 of our new female officers here this evening. And, you know, hopefully they'll have as smooth a transition as I was fortunate to have because of the officers that came before me.
Because of the women officers that also came before you.
Yes.
Right. To create that sisterhood and that different power base.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for everything that you do. And now Detective Rebecca Leah.
Hi, good evening.
Hi.
I've been with Franklin Township just finishing up my 18th year. And for the first 17 and a half, I was in the patrol division. I've recently moved into internal affairs along with Leah Spahr, and Sergeant Lacewell is my sergeant. So we're keeping it all close knit there. And as it so happens, Sergeant Lacewell was my training officer. So I can definitely say that she was a very good mentor. She gave me the advice, and when I had questions, she was more than happy to answer that for me. And I think looked out for me a little bit along the way. Because again, there was a good amount of females there when I started. I think around 8 maybe back then. But
That's still a high percentage. Again,
I was
being
told
that the national average is around 11%. We're right about that.
Franklin has some of the highest percentage in the state, you know, next to outside of the big agencies as in like Newark or the state police. But then, just to echo what Detective Spahr had said too, I think that women look at the situation maybe a little bit differently and do like to talk it down. I agree. That is my approach. I am, you know, not the tallest female. I'm not the shortest either, but it's just, we have a different stature than a man, and I always will try to talk it. And I just think if you approach the situation and talk to people like you want to be talked to, that usually does work. It usually does work for both men and women alike. And also, I enjoy some of the community programs that we've had as well. Pacer was one of my most favorite ones that I've done over the years. It's just great to go to the elementary schools and to be able to read to the children. And whenever they see me, it's lady police. It's a lady police. And
That's interesting.
A smile to my face. That's what they call me. So yes, I'll be a lady police.
Wow, it's an interesting perspective. And when the women's movement really started to pick up steam, that women did not want to be categorized differentially as women. That we're all equal. We are up to any task. That gender is not a factor. And I think we're coming back into our own across the board. That yeah, it is a factor. We possess femininity in ways that are not necessarily more compassionate, but it's a different level of compassion. Where it comes from, it comes from wherever it comes from, but we lead with our hearts. We lead with our hearts, and I think we're not embarrassed to be females now, attempting roles that have been traditionally male. So in a male-dominated environment such as police departments, that I think we're able to shine within ourselves, and
Yes, and I think that the women that have come before, they have shown that we can do the job, but still have that perspective that you're speaking of.
Yes,
We can still be feminine, but still get this job done in a predominantly male field. Yes.
And I think the respect from the male officers is also growing, because they're seeing not only the competence and the excellence, but the ability to add that extra something that only women can add.
Yes.
So thank you. Yes, exactly. And I thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you
Next
for
we
having
have, thank you again, all of you. It's wonderful that we had the turnout that we did. Officer Lila Madoma, I hope I pronounced that correctly.
No, you do totally butchered that one, but that's okay. I'm used to it.
Well, please correct me so that I don't feel like I
That's all
butchered
right.
it deliberately.
My first name is pronounced Lila. It's spelled like Lila, but it's pronounced Lila. And the last name is Madoma.
Okay, so Lila
first and
Madoma.
Yeah. First and foremost, I'd like to welcome Louise and the other officer. I can't think of her name right now. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Lauren.
But I'd like to welcome you to Franklin. And I hope that the females here, especially me, because I'm still on patrol, and the other couple of females that are on patrol will help you along the way, because it is a challenging position as a female officer on patrol. So I'm not going to lie there. So I guess, I'm sorry, I've been on the force for 17 years. I'll be completing 18 years in February. I have spent my entire career on patrol. I absolutely love patrol. It's where it's at. You get to have the best of both worlds, I think. And I think for me, I think the biggest challenge for me in the beginning was, there's a boys club. Everybody knows that there's a boys club. And it was letting that boys club know that just because I'm a female, that I can handle myself. I can handle the job, and I can do what's necessary when I need to handle business. And that gives them confidence to know that when we're on a backup with them for something, that they have the confidence that we're going to be there, and we'll be able there to help them, and vice versa. So I think that was the biggest challenge in the beginning was trying to be part of the boys club on patrol, because you kind of have to be. You want to make sure you got backup as well, but also letting them know that you have to be able to handle business, and so they have a respect for you as time goes on, that we can do this job. And I've been here on patrol 17 years, and I got all the respect I need right now on patrol.
Wow.
So
well, I imagine all those years in police training in the academy, and whatever else you had to do, whatever else you had to sacrifice to be where you are right now, as you walked through that door, that should be a given that you can handle the job.
Absolutely. I mean,
Exactly.
I was also in the military for 8 years. Went to boot camp. That was tough, as it is. So, so I've been in that position where I've been in a boys' world for a long time.
Sure.
And it feels good when you can handle something that, like the other said, it's a male-dominated profession. Well, not anymore, because here we are.
Here you are. Exactly.
Exactly.
What do you think one of the aspects of being a woman has benefited you in your role?
Just like Detective Leah said, Officer Spahr and the others, we bring a different perspective when we're dealing with certain people. For me, I learned a while ago that, sometimes when you're going to a domestic, that's that person's worst day in their entire life. So being able to talk to that person and try to figure out, how to make it better for them. Sometimes, you have a male officer who could do that, but the sensitivity comes with a female. I think just, I don't know, makes it tone it down some, and you're able to talk to these people and try to figure out how we can make their life better. And it just, the sensitive part of us helps with that, I think. And I'm a new mom. I have a 10-month-old at home.
Oh,
And
congratulations.
thank you. And outside of all that, being a mom just completely just makes whatever sensitivity I had even heightened, because now I'm even more sensitive than I was before.
Of course.
So I'm able to, just really listen to someone and understand and, try to show that we're there for them and try to help them along.
Wow.
So
It's, I sometimes get overwhelmed. The soft strength, I think, is where women are. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's me editorializing, but I'm a woman. I get it. I don't have your skills in terms of policing, but I certainly appreciate every one of you, what you've brought to this department. Next, we have Christy Stebila, Officer Christy Stebila. Are you here?
Hi.
Did I butcher your name?
No, that was perfect.
Oh,
Christy
good.
Stebila.
Thank you. Okay. Tell us a
I just
little
want to
bit
say thank
about
you for
Christy.
having me.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure.
Christy Stebila, thank you for having me. I've been with Franklin. I'm coming up on my 1-year mark in 6 days, October 28th. I will be there for a year. So I'm one of the newer ones as well. Not as new as Lauren and Louise, but I've been there not as long. I'm on patrol. I'm on the midnight shift. Before I was in Franklin, I was a special officer in Seaside Heights, and that gave me a little perspective. And then I got hired with Franklin, fortunately. And I'm still kind of learning the ropes. I, like all the other females were saying, was so fortunate enough, as you see, all these girls in here have been paving the way for me, been nothing but helpful, been nothing but lending out a hand, giving me their phone numbers if you need anything, if you have any questions. So that's definitely something I wasn't expecting. I feel like being in this profession can definitely, well, I had it hard, so you have it hard too, figure it out. But no, everyone was so accepting, so helpful. I was fortunate enough to be trained under a female training officer who's not in here right now, Christine Rodriguez. So that was an awesome experience. I also wasn't expecting that. And I just have to say, going off what all the other ladies were saying with challenges, I find the biggest challenge, especially being so new, being a rookie and a female officer, is just gaining the trust of your male partners. I want you to go home at the end of the day, just like you want me to go home at the end of the day. I got your back, you got my back, and you have to, I just feel like they wouldn't necessarily question that if you were a male, but being a female, you're their backup on a call. I don't want them to second guess, oh, I have Christy as my backup, maybe send another car this way. No, like I got you, and I just want to, you to have my trust. I've rolled around with people just as much as they have with them and stuff. So I just definitely think that's a big challenge, is just gaining the trust of your your male counterparts.
Your male officers, right.
Yes.
Wow. Well, that's interesting. You bring up Christine Rodriguez. She's actually the genesis of this idea. We were covering an event at Franklin High School where there had been a donation by the PBA 154 of signage at the high school. And she was one of the officers involved in that presentation. We just got to talking about it, that, we haven't really focused on women in law enforcement at all, and specifically in Franklin Township. So I'm sorry she couldn't be with us tonight, because it was out of that conversation that this concept was born, to have all of you assembled here and to let Franklin Township have a little bit more insight as into you personally, but into you, to all of you as females, and what your experiences have been based on that. So thank you. Again, thank you for your service. and what you're doing for Franklin Township and setting the examples that you're all setting. Okay, next we have one of our newest Franklin Township female officers, Officer Lauren Gregory. And I know this is this day 4 for you, correct?
Yes, this is day 4.
Day 4. Oh my gosh, you must be swimming in new information. Tell us a little bit about how you think being a woman is impacting what you're doing.
Sure. I'm Lauren Gregory, day 4 with Franklin Township, but prior to that, I was employed with the Juvenile Justice Commission at the New Jersey Training School for 4 years as a senior correctional police officer there. And after that, so my last job prior to Franklin Township was with Middlesex County Sheriff's Office. So my experience is very limited compared to the other officers here, but with my limited experience, I have experienced the same things that they have all said. First of all, from the very beginning, I was welcomed by women. I believe Officer Rodriguez was one of the people that I interviewed. My first interview was with her, and Det.Leah was my background investigator, interviewing with the director after that, prior to that. So from the very beginning, I saw a strong female force, which was surprising to me, and I was amazed by that, to see so many women in the position where interviewing and being involved from the start. So that was a great feeling from the beginning. And since then, having met Officer Spahr, Officer Grant, being in the classroom and training with Louise, it's refreshing to see so many women and Sergeant Lacewell, so many women, and welcoming us, Louise, myself, to the department in not a, oh, you're the new girl, but hey, welcome, welcome. If you need anything, here's my number. Don't be afraid to contact me. So I too have had the experience of being the woman and, oh, can you get down and, and having to prove myself more and do more to prove myself than my male counterparts have. And once they see that I am capable of doing this, oh, Gregory, you get down. I'm like, yeah, I can hold my own, to be firm in that aspect, but also to be, a soft person where someone's screaming and yelling and I can come in and say, okay, let's just talk, and get to the bottom of things, where not always, but not making assumptions or judgments, but a male officer might meet them at that level and, yell and scream or have that shouting match with them. So I'm excited to be here, excited to work for this department, and excited to work.
Yeah, I'm losing your sound a little bit, but that's okay. All right, well, that's wonderful that your initial experience has been that you felt welcomed, and there's a common thread that I want to get back to, but I thank you. Yeah, I'm still not able to hear you totally. Okay, I'm not sure if it's a tech issue. All right, Bill, can you do anything with that? Yeah, I can't hear her at all.
Well, that's your echo.
That's my echo.
It's your echo.
Okay, don't know why I'm echoing.
Can you hear me now?
Anyway, now, yes, I just heard you say that, whatever it was you said. All right, Bill, can you do anything with that? And just make sure. Yeah, I'm on. I'm not muted in any way. Okay. Well, let's see. Again, welcome, and I'm glad your first experience thus far has been one where you're happy to be here. So that's great. I'd like next to introduce Officer Louise Blige, who is also a newbie. And how many days are you here, Officer Blige?
4 days.
Wow, the same period of time. Tell us a little bit about your impressions being a female, being in Franklin Township, being a female police officer? What do you think the impact's been?
Prior to being here at Franklin, I was at Irvington Police Department for 3.5 years. Prior to that, I was a correction officer at Trenton State Prison.
Mm-hmm.
And since being in those two places, because I can't really speak on Franklin just yet, I can say I have gained the respect of my male coworkers. One thing about me, I'm very bubbly, I'm smiley. I just didn't let this career change me. So I encourage or motivate any little girl or even a woman who decides to do this career. I just hope I motivate them that you don't have to be aggressive. You don't have to change who you are. You can definitely be yourself and still gain a respect from male and female.
Right. Again, you assume a certain competence when you walk in the door because you've experienced the same training and the same preparation as the males also on the police force, so that there's a certain given. Yeah, of course you can handle it, or you wouldn't be there. But that's it's exciting. You've come from quite a background, as all of the women have, to come to Franklin, and we're happy to have you. So there's one thing I think. Well, actually, I'd like to have Captain Rizzo chime in a little bit here. This must be an interesting experience with Director Spruill involved in the position that she is and the direction that she seems to be taking the department in. And I'd love for you to comment. What's your experience been like, and how do you think women are impacting Franklin Township Police Force?
Well, I've been with the force now for about the same time as Sergeant Lacewell. She and I started right around the same time. And there were always women on the force. So it's just something that I've always seen. Working for Director Spruill has been amazing, to be quite frank. She brings a new and fresh perspective to pretty much everything we're doing. She likes to say we're taking things slow. Her definition of slow is a little different than the rest of the world's definition of slow, but I can tell you that she has some capable officers that she trusts, and I'm fortunate that she trusts me with that. And she demands greatness from us, which makes us demand greatness of our officers. And it's just something that we've needed, and she's brought a lot of positive change, and I look forward to what we have to see in the future. To piggyback on what all these officers have said, with the exception of Officers Blige, Gregory, and Stebila, I have worked side by side on the road with every one of these officers. Wow. And every one of these officers, I am 100% confident that they have my back. And the fact that I interviewed Officers Blige, Gregory, and Stebila, I am 100% confident that if I were in trouble on the road, they would have my back. So 10 years ago, there was a newspaper article about females that was written, and I was kind of misquoted on the fact that I said, they're not females, they're just officers. And that wasn't what I was getting at, but that was what was said. Because at the time I did have a partner, my partner was female. The point of the matter was, I knew 100% she was an officer. She had my back 100%, and that was really how it was.
And that's really the bottom line.
Absolutely.
I cover you, you cover me.
Absolutely.
And the gender should not impact that confidence and that trust. But there's just a different perspective, and I think it adds greatly. And I'm glad that's been your experience. That's it just brings people closer together in that they respect the differences. They respect the soft strength of women, and I think that's certainly evident in Franklin Township. One aspect that I'd like anybody to comment on, that there was this feeling of when I walk in the door, I have to prove myself more than a male officer at my rank would have to prove himself simply because I'm female. Anybody care to comment on that?
I'll comment on that. I think that when you come in and you're a new officer, you do feel that you need to, a new female officer, you do need to move above and beyond. And I think early on, there were times when I probably moved forward in calls in a way where I put myself at risk because I felt the need to prove myself on that call. I can name 3, times right now off the top of my head. And then there came a point, and again with the officers, the female officers that laid the groundwork beforehand and were mentors, where I was able to have that conversation. And the bottom line is, we need to do it smart. We need to do it the same way. We need to follow our training and not try to, make put ourselves in harm's way just to try to prove ourselves. Just
Exactly. Yeah, I was wondering about that. There are, I'm sure when you are in a position to have to act quickly, you do as a result of your training and your skill, and that you have that extra edge being female is a plus, is an asset. But it's an interesting concept that one has to prove oneself more so simply because of the gender factor. So I think, have I missed anyone who's given a little a background about herself?
No, you got everybody.
Okay, what I would like to touch on, and again, I think I'd like to start with Director Spruill. There are perceptions in this country right now about the police department, perceptions in areas of excessive force and brutality, that I would like to have you address in Franklin Township. And do you think that being female has had any impact on these perceptions? And have they had perceptions like that in Franklin Township, where there are issues that have arisen with excessive force or brutality, that you feel being female has been an asset in quelling that?
So I don't quite know how to answer that in terms of, so let me start from the top. I think being a female, and I think all females, even you, PJ, can agree that we didn't choose to be females. It was predetermined for us.
It's the double X chromosome.
Exactly. So we didn't have any say in that. And listen, I'm not looking to change that. I'm female. I am who I am. And we also didn't choose what race we are. But we did choose to be police officers. So,
Exactly.
What happens is in law enforcement, no matter whether you're black, blue, brown, white, male, female, when you put on the uniform, you wear the badge, you wear that title, you are blue, you are a police officer. So I think that, again, our perspective, our de-escalation skills in terms of, and this isn't universal. I want to say that too. I've worked with some females that can escalate a situation quicker than any male. So I don't think it's universal. I've been with some female officers. I'm like, whoa, wait, what are we doing? The words coming out don't match the situation. So I don't think there's an actual, when you talk about in terms of what's going on today in law enforcement, I think it goes back to those same old self-awareness skills, self-regulation, the empathy, the social skills that all officers possess. Can females sometimes nail it quicker? Maybe, but the ratio is so disproportionate, it's hard to weigh that. I know that what I've seen in Franklin Township, that, listen, it's really the minority for an officer to act outside of that. I think that, you know, I've seen that the capabilities, you know, and the interpersonal relationships and skills that the officers have pretty much across the board are genuine. And, you know, they do want to, you know, make sure that they're pleasing the community. I know officers who have said to me that, you know, that's not who we are. And I said, go out there and prove it. That's it. Keep doing what you're doing.
Exactly.
Okay. So I don't know so much if female plays into it, but I think just being blue, because listen, if you're blue, it doesn't matter if you're male or female at the end of the day to some people. I just think it's, you know, we have to carry ourselves a certain way. And especially being female, I forget who said it, that, you know, we want to be one of the boys. We want to show that we fit in. But at the end of the day, it all goes back to that confidence that we have, and to say, guess what? I can do this job. I don't care if I'm a female. I've always been that person as a female. I walk into a room, let's face it, chief and director. And my last role as a chief, my present role as a director. I walk into a room, most times it's all white males. I'm at this point in my career like, okay, all right, move aside. This is my opinion. I do.
And I've seen you do that.
And you know what? And that is what, can I tell you something? That is what I want to empower these women to be like, you know what?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm a woman. So what? Move aside. I know what I'm doing. Look, Leah, we're talking about firearms permits. I know my job. Move aside. I don't care. I'm a woman. I'm going to tell you, this is how it is. Right. So that is what I want them to be. And, you know, no matter where they're assigned, you know, Madoma in patrol, you know, Rebecca and IA, like, you know, Jolanda in training, and you know your job, you know, you know what you're doing. So it doesn't matter. So I think that, you know, the climate that we're in, it will turn around as long as there's more people like us who are willing to do the work and put it in and reassure the public that we have their best interests at heart at the end of the day. We do, because someone's breaking into my house. I'm calling 911 for the, you know, local police to come here because that is what we do. And that's what you should do. And you shouldn't feel bad or intimidated about that, because I grew up where the police help you. The police, you know, that's what they're there. Protect and serve is not just some slogan that they come up with annually, like for the Kraft, you know, Kraft cheese doodles or whatever they're having. It's true. We protect and we, you know, we serve and we protect. So I don't know. I don't think being a female plays into everything. It really doesn't.
Well, it doesn't play in a position of less than. It doesn't play into a situation of, well, I'm female, but I'm female, and I think is the direction that that if we can get to that place where it's our own personal givens that, well, of course I can do this job. I have the training, I have the skill, and there is no other criteria here.
And that is what we have to teach our women. That is what we have to teach our girls to do, to say, you know, when someone mentions that, that's like, okay, so what? That's like saying I have 2 feet. All right. You know, thank God.
Exactly. It's not a detriment. It's an absolute positive, and it's a plus. And I speak as a fellow woman, obviously, and I'm thrilled that you have the caliber of female that you do in positions of police authority in Franklin Township, and your leadership. I'm hearing from all sides within the community, within the police community, that you've added so much to the department and to the perception of the police department as being viable, growing, and strong. And that's exciting. I mean, Franklin is my home, and I know that, and I have personally experienced that if I need an officer in a heartbeat, they're there. And that's getting the job done. So I'm so thankful and so grateful to each one of you.
Well, I want,
yes, go.
Can I just say that I want to, I mean, my personal motto throughout my career, being in law enforcement, being a public servant, is that I want to leave it better than I found it.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes for me. I have a sign in my house that says, we're going to leave the world better than we found it, you know, and that is what I inspire my kids with. And that is how I feel about Franklin Township. That is how I feel about this police department. That is how I feel about the men and women in the department, whether they agree or disagree. I'm going to make them better than when I started. However that is, you know, whatever we have a vision for them. And I think, you know, the choice of the officers that were here before me, you know, it is just, they're awesome. I don't say it often. These women are awesome. You know, the captains are awesome. They're like I'm not going to say what show is from, but, you know, they're my 3 dragons. So.
Oh, wow. That's an honor. That's an honor to be considered, you know, a beast of strength and power.
The show, but
no, it's,
you know,
it's great. It's a sisterhood with a mighty sword. And I would be remiss if I didn't invite my co-publisher, Bill Bowman, to say a few words. This is, yes, it's been all about women, but you, I'm sure, have a few words to say about women, and women in particular in Franklin Township's police force.
I have a lot of words to say about women. Actually, just a question, and whoever wants to tackle it can. I'm just curious as to what made you want to become a police officer?
I'll answer that. So I grew up in Newark, in the Bellsburg section of Newark, and it was not a very safe neighborhood to grow up in. I often went to bed listening to gunshots being fired outside of my house. And in the 80s, it was popular to steal cars all over Newark and do donuts, you know, wherever you could. So I remember one time hearing somebody out in my driveway, and I was afraid in my own house. And,
oh my God.
You know, you call Newark police for just, you know, hearing somebody in your driveway possibly breaking into your car. And, you know, unfortunately, it doesn't rank high on their list because they have a lot of other things that they're taking care of. So I became a cop because I didn't want anybody else feeling like that. And that's what motivated me to pursue this career. And I feel very fortunate that, you know, I was given this opportunity. I think about it daily, like, I don't even know how I got here, but I'm glad I did.
Great. Well, great. That's great.
Yeah, you took fear and let it motivate you.
I like to chime in to answer that question also. I in kindergarten, I don't know how old you are when you're in kindergarten, what, 6, 7, something like that. And there was an assignment that we had, and my teacher asked us what we wanted to be when we grew up. And my main thing was being a police officer. And my mother kept that little thing all these years. And I actually have it. And if I'd known that that question was gonna be answered, I would have brought it and shown everyone. But I feel that the reason why I wanted to be a police officer was because I was picked on a lot in school. I was bullied in school. And I felt my own little kindergarten brain that if I grew up to be a police officer, that I could stop other bullies from bullying other people and stopping the bad guys. So since kindergarten, this is where I wanted to be. And luckily, thanks to the Franklin Township Police Department, I was able to get here. It was a little rocky at first. I had went through the academy and blew my knee out, and during the academy, and I would have been hired at the same time as Officer Leah, but I had to have knee surgery. And thanks to command and other people at the beginning, they held a slot for me. Wow. And so I hightailed it, getting my surgery done and all the rehab. And within a couple of months, I started in 2003. So it's all thanks to them with keeping a slot. Otherwise, I wouldn't be where I am right now. So I have all the thanks and loyalty to Franklin.
That's great. That's great. You said before when you were talking about what you do, but you're on patrol, you love patrol. What is it about patrol that you like so much?
I get to interact with people, you know. It's not every day that you can save somebody's life. It's not every day you can talk to a little girl who's been abused. And actually that's another perspective that female officers have when you're dealing with little girls who you know, something happened to them, and you know, being able to help that little girl through a situation, it just makes it that much better. You know, when you're pulling somebody out of an overturned car, pulling them to safety, it makes you feel like you're at the top of your game. You know, makes you feel like a hero.
You like that adrenaline rush?
Yeah, it's not the rush. I mean,
No.
it is in a way, but it's more or less that you're doing something good. You know, you're helping people. You're doing something good. You're taking away the bad guys so they don't hurt anybody else. You know, you're saving somebody's life. You know, so it just, I don't know, that for me, that's just where it is. And you come to work every day not knowing what you're going to get. It's kind of like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. So, you know,
That's right.
you know, we have great people here. We have, you know, thankfully we have an awesome director who's steering us all in the right direction. We have, you know, all these new candidates to, you know, that are going to hopefully be promoted sergeant. And we just have a lot of good people that are just going to make this department a lot better. And, you know, sadly have 8 more years left, but I hope that the next 8 years is going to be something that's, you know, going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So.
Who was the other corrections officer?
Myself, Lauren, I was correcting.
Right, Lauren Gregory, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's not an easy gig. I mean, what made you want to go to become a CO?
So I didn't get a chance to answer your previous question, but we asked what made you want to be a police officer. I always wanted to be a police officer. I come from a law enforcement family, and I knew as a little girl that was something that I wanted to do, just based off seeing my father and my grandfather. But then as I grew up and as I got older and it took out the admiration aspect out of it and seeing as admiration meaning like, that's my dad, but seeing the work that they do and the satisfaction that they get and the satisfaction that the community gets, that's something that I made a career goal of mine. Corrections wasn't my first choice, but I'm so thankful that it was a part of my law enforcement journey because I learned so much in the 4 years that I was there. The facility that I worked at was all males, all juvenile males. So on top of being a woman in law enforcement, you had the added aspect of young men, who are on the, man child. They're not young kids, but they're not a young full adults. So it was the hormonal aspect of it. It was, wanting to be a kid one day, wanting to be a man the next day, and balancing that. So all of that experience helped me as I got to where I desperately wanted to be, or finally wanted to be, which is here. So I feel like that experience in working there will help me as I transition here.
Great. Okay.
That certainly commands a great deal of strength on so many levels. You're dealing with people who are really not happy, and that's probably one of the understatements. But that you've transferred that experience, it makes you richer here. So
Good.
let's see. I think we've had a very interesting cross section of opinion here with all of these officers, all 9 officers. Again, thank you to Sergeant Jolanda Lacewell, Detective Leah Spahr, Officer Dawn Flanders, Officer Stacy Grant, Detective Rebecca Leah, Officers Lila Madoma, Officer Christy Stebila, and our brand new officers, Lauren Gregory and Officer Louise Blige, and of course, our Public Safety Director, Quovella Spruill, and our police captain, Bill Rizzo, all of whom make Franklin Township a better place. You all make a difference. You put on that uniform every day and you walk out the door to protect the rest of us. You don't know at the end of the day what you have faced and if you're coming home at the end of the day. And that's something that I think the rest of us, Franklin, must keep in mind, that these officers are here absolutely to serve and protect, and they do. And we are absolutely so grateful. So thank you all for being here. Bill?
Yes.
Yes.
Go what you say, and again, thanks for what you do.
Yes, we appreciate you, and we appreciate that you took time out this evening to just give another aspect of what it's like to be female and to be a police officer as well in Franklin Township. So we thank you all so much.
Okay.
Welcome.
Good
Thank
night.
you. Okay.
We're going to say good night to our guests. And it's going to take a couple seconds. And we really appreciate that you guys took the time to speak with us. And I think we lost Christy Stebila somewhere in there, but someone let her know that.
She actually logged off because she had to go to work.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, happens to the best of us.
Ah, she's got a tough boss.
And that's it. No, that's not it. What is everybody else here?
Oh, now I'm seeing everybody.
Yeah, because he's getting
That's funny.
for you. Okay. Boy, there should be a button I can just push. Okay, it's just us. Wow, that was great. I really enjoyed that. That was very interesting. And just man, women who are in corrections facilities, just that's awesome. You know,
it's something you kind of take for granted that, of course, there are female officers, and of course they may have a different perspective. But when you hear it directly, and what I was most moved by was each one of them felt that, including Director Spruill, that somewhere there was a slight need to apologize for being a woman. A woman, okay, so what? Well, no, a woman, yes. And what we bring to the table is going to be different, but it's not in a negative or an inferior capacity. And I think that we still, as women, if we are involved in a traditionally mostly male environment, that sometimes can color our perceptions of ourselves, that we walk into a situation as, well, I got to prove myself because I'm a female, and I have to make sure that they get it, that I can do this as well as they can. Well, I don't know how many men walk into a situation like that and have that feeling of, because I'm male, I may be judged differently, or I may be judged from a position of less than. And I think we've come a long way as women to eradicate that. But I'm glad they addressed that maybe one day that's not going to be an issue. It's going to be, I am woman and you are man, and we're here to do the same job. We've had the same training. We'll approach certain things differently, and that will enrich all of the experience and lend itself to the law and the order and the peace that we all require from our police officers. Yeah. So it was just, it was a great experience tonight. I'm very happy that we made this happen.
Yeah, yeah. Well, also what impressed me was the longevity that, well, most of the, just about
yes,
all, right, 18 years, 19 years. I mean,
yes, 23.
Seasoned veterans that we have in Franklin. So that speaks well of how Franklin Township treats, I would think. I would think that
absolutely
treats the women police officers. I know there's been issues. There was recently a harassment discrimination suit settled.
Yes.
You know.
No.
Notwithstanding that,
stuff happens.
Stuff happens.
And that it has to be brought to the attention to change that from happening again. is a good thing.
Well, I mean,
And you bring it to light and, okay, here it is. And it shouldn't be, it shouldn't have been. And if it was, or if it wasn't, we now have an example to spring forward from.
and I have to point out that even though it was settled, there was no admission of any wrongdoing done by the township or the police department. So we have to put that in there.
Okay.
That was,
That's a whole different podcast, I have a feeling.
yeah, well, yeah.
But the aspect also I wanted to bring up is that each one of them felt their I don't want to say obligation, but their responsibility to be role models and mentors to the youth of this community, to the youth who look up to the police officer and find that the police officer who is honorable is not just a man. There are police officers who are in charge, and they are female.
Yeah.
And I think that's astonishing for boys and there's obviously girls, but for boys as well, that their picture is not just one-sided, that authority and strength is born of just one gender. So it's an education for all.
Well, like Captain Rizzo said, when he joined the force, there was a strong contingent of women on the force already. So this is nothing new for him. This is just okay. This is how it is. This is and he obviously he's good with it because he's been here a long time. So
yes, he's very good with it.
There are some things that are male dominated, or the men aren't all that, open-minded about having women move in on them. I mean, that in the military, there's been a long time arguing about whether women should be in combat. Countries don't seem to have that problem, but we do here. But so that's a good thing.
Well, there's the training aspect, and that's why it exists. There is a certain physical strength that's required.
Sure.
And that's obviously inherent in a training situation. When you walk through that door and you are a police officer in Franklin Township or anywhere, you have that basic training, knowledge, skill, and experience that enables you from day one to enter into a situation where you have to defend and protect yourself, as well as those you are called to reconcile differences with. So it's fascinating. And right now, I'm very happy I'm a woman.
That's good.
Yes, it is.
All right. Well,
good feeling.
That's a good note to end on. If you have any comments you want to make, you can put them in the comment section down below the video. Also, I would remind you again, if you really like this sort of thing that we do, and if you like our coverage of the township, I would encourage you to subscribe to the website, www.franklinreporter.com. It's $37 a year. That's really not a lot of money for what you get. And, we've heard it a million times. You guys are everywhere. You guys are everywhere. And we are. And it's because it's what we do.
And it's because this is where we live.
Right.
And we had an opportunity to do this many years ago when we were offered another pre-existing newspaper to run in this community. It was always kind of in the back of our minds that this is what needs to be done. And when the opportunity arose, from day one, our mission has always been to elevate Franklin.
Yep.
There were some reputation issues. There were incidences in this community that were awful. And you know what? We're not sugarcoating them, but we are rising above, and we are pointing out that there is excellence in this community. There's honor in this community. There is community in this community, the likes of which I have never seen, where people just take care of each other. It's a wonderful place to live and work and honor each other. And people work very, very hard to make it a good and safe place. I'm very proud to be part of that. And certainly Franklin Township Police Department is a huge, huge factor in that feeling.
Yes. So if you want to support us, subscribe. If you have a business in town or know someone who has a business in town, we encourage you or them to consider advertising with us. We have several different vehicles. We have the website. We have the monthly digest newspaper. We have the morning report that comes to your email around 5 o'clock every morning. If you haven't,
You don't have an email
Oh, okay. If you if you
And
don't
my phone achieving a life of her own.
haven't subscribed to the morning report, it's easy to do.
please repeat what you said?
She's talking to me.
Siri.
Thank you, Siri. Good night.
That's that.
Sorry.
My it's completely blown. Thanks a lot.
Oh, sorry.
Franklin, as always, until we meet again, you stay safe. PJ, say that thing that you always say.
I say, this is PJ Parker from the Franklin Reporter and Advocate, and we will be back.
We will. Thanks a lot and have a great rest of whatever this is that you're watching us in.